right now on 5 on your side at 10.
A weather impact alert for another frost and freeze overnight. Where the coldest temperatures are expected to be tomorrow morning and why you won't have to worry about frost this weekend.
Board meeting brawl.
He was hurt, but it could have been much worse.
The attack that left 2 officers and 2 officials injured. The suspect's connection to the board. A fired superintendent firing back. Keisha Scarlett vows to sue St. Louis Public Schools. Tonight we look into whether she has a case.
We start tonight with a weather impact alert. A freeze warning is in effect overnight for areas that didn't dip below freezing this morning. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush. Kelly Jackson has the night off, but let's get straight to Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell, who's tracking another frosty morning.
Yeah, already tonight, frost forming in some of our outlying areas as it's dropping back into the 30s. These are temperatures just updated. Salem, Missouri is down to 35. So is Mount Vernon, Illinois. Salem, Illinois is 37 degrees. It's 37 in Alton, Litchfield. Basically, half the area had a freeze last night, and the other half gets it tonight. So those of you that didn't have the freeze last night, mainly east of St. Louis and in parts of the metro area, that's why the freeze warning is in effect for you through the early morning hours tomorrow. Most of us are going to have a pretty decent frost tomorrow morning. You still have time to save some of those plants if you're trying to protect them, but you don't want to wait much longer. Already that frost is forming tonight, so you need to cover the vegetation up if you want those tomato plants to make it overnight. Cloth and fabric and paper would be your best bet, and then remove that tomorrow morning after it warms. And warm it will as we head towards the weekend. We'll see you in a few minutes, Mike.
All right, Scott, thanks. New tonight, the latest fallout involving St. Louis Public Schools. Nearly 3 months into the start of the school year, the school board stands by the decision to terminate Superintendent Keisha Scarlett. Now Scarlett is vowing to fight that decision in court. 5 on your side's Brent Solomon is live now with what that could mean for the already financially strapped school district. Brent.
Well, finances are believed to be one of the biggest reasons we got here. Concerns of spending within the district. Top-level hires coming in, familiar with the superintendent, making big bucks. And now that your district is already facing a big deficit, can it afford a lawsuit? Former SLPS Superintendent Dr. Keisha Scarlett firing back after the school board doubled down on its vote to fire her for cause, despite her appealing that decision. In a statement, her spokesperson said, "Throughout this process, the board has disregarded her contributions to the community, the truth behind the efforts to end her contract, and her contractual rights." She firmly denies any grounds for termination and trusts the impartial judicial system will reveal the truth. Education consultant Dr. Jerry Kettenbach has been following this closely.
A lot of the spending things are things that the superintendent declares emergency hires someone way above what the board would have to approve on a normal basis. That happening once in a blue moon might seem reasonable, but there were several cases of that.
Scarlett says school board members encouraged her to replace and restructure leadership positions and to do it quickly. After losing her appeal to keep her job, will she have a case in court?
Because I'm just thinking about, when I've terminated teachers before, not a very unsimilar situation. I would think she would have to demonstrate that the reasons they gave for terminating her are bogus, that she never saw it coming.
As for the cost of a lawsuit,
probably given the larger scope of the finances with the projected deficit budget, particularly the personnel and very especially the transportation costs, that whatever lawsuit would probably be a small amount relative to all of that.
right now, the state auditor is looking into the district's finances. I checked in with that office today. They said they're still in the early stages. Meantime, the school district is faced with a new assignment, searching for a permanent superintendent. Live downtown, Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
Tonight, we're learning more about the deadly hit-and-run crash that killed a Florissant man and his dog. Court documents reveal Alonzo Johnson turned himself into police and admitted to the crash. Navy veteran Rick Alsept was killed in the crash Saturday morning while walking his dog along Waterford Drive. Johnson is due back in court next Tuesday for a bond reduction hearing. He's currently being held on a $50,000 cash-only bond. Caught on camera, a brawl at a Board of Aldermen meeting that left 4 people hurt, including 2 police officers. Tonight, a Pine Lawn alderwoman who was also injured is reliving the violent assault at Monday night's meeting with our Robert Townsend. Robert?
Mike, that stunning video is what many people in Pine Lawn are definitely talking about tonight. Video one alderwoman tells me clearly shows the suspect on a violent rampage. Police say a frustrated Daniel Metz, who was sitting in the audience at Monday night's Pine Lawn Board of Aldermen meeting, suddenly pushed a North County Police cooperative officer and knocked him to the floor.
I said, you can go home. And so with that, Daniel Metz jumped up.
3rd Ward Alderwoman Dion Peoples-Jones says Metz then lunged at her before she blacked out. Her iPad caught the violence on video.
I saw Daniel coming toward me. People are telling me what happened. They're saying that Daniel hit me in the head, hit me in the face. I don't remember.
Witnesses told police Metz also punched a second alderperson. Investigators say the first officer Metz violently pushed into a podium is a 35-year veteran with North County Police Cooperative. The officer suffered broken ribs and a hip injury. He's now out of the hospital.
He was attempting to stop. He was doing his job.
The second officer, a 22-year North County Police Cooperative veteran, tased Metz with his stun gun. Police say he suffered a knee injury when Metz resisted.
Officers, aldermen, alderwomen, spectators, no one went in that room expecting to witness and or be assaulted.
Alderwoman Peoples-Jones says moments before the attacks, Metz was heckling her as she discussed a plan to tear down vacant buildings in Pine Lawn. 5 on Your Side interviewed Daniel Metz last month after his brother, Pine Lawn Alderman Gerald Metz, crashed into a shooting scene, was arrested and charged with driving under the influence.
It could have been much worse.
The undeterred alderwoman, though brought to tears thinking about this, remains committed to her community.
I'm thankful for the co-op because they were there to protect and serve, and they protected me that day.
Now, prosecutors charged Metz with 4 counts of assault and resisting arrest. Tonight, he's being held in jail on a $150,000 bond.
We're hearing from an Uber driver who was shot at during an attempted carjacking. This happened 2 weeks ago.
They shot a lot of bullets straight at me. My headrest saved my life, catching 2 bullets in it. My seat has more. The windshield in front of me had four holes through it. I didn't even realize at the time. I guess my body was just, my mind was shutting off. I stayed as still as I could.
Her car is now destroyed and she's out of a job. Uber says it reached out to the driver to offer support. We have a link to a GoFundMe page on KSDK.com under the As Seen on TV section. Tonight, the St. Louis Reparations Commission final report is on the desk of Mayor Tashara Jones. For the past year and a half, the group has held 27 listening sessions all across the city. 5 on Your Side's Laura Barczewski joins us in studio to break down the report. Laura?
Mike, the Reparations Commission was tasked with assessing the history of slavery, segregation, and other race-based harms in St. Louis. They heard from the public and have now made recommendations in 6 key areas.
St. Louis has a deep history of racial injustice. The St. Louis Reparations Commission found some of those injustices are still happening today. Their 124-page report details how the city can do better to improve the lives of Black St. Louisans.
We have 2 categories for recommendations: restitution-oriented and policy-oriented.
That's Vice Chair Dr. Will Ross. He says housing and neighborhood development is one of the recommendation areas. They believe the city needs to further invest in rebuilding neighborhoods filled with vacant homes and empty lots and address the lack of affordable housing.
We have to provide resources, and we spelled out, up to grants of up to $25,000 or so for individuals, for families, to actually secure a down payment
The report says displaced black families who lived in areas like Mill Creek Valley, where the City SC soccer stadium is now, should be compensated.
We asked for an apology in the report, but we want to acknowledge that, and we wanted to follow up with some direct payments, not just to Mill Creek Valley, but direct payments to Port Igo and McCreetown.
Public health was another area of concern. The black community has been disproportionately affected due to a lack of resources, leading to shorter life expectancies.
We want people to have health services and public health services to ensure that they will be living well and living long.
The last 4 areas the commission made recommendations for are education, economic justice, policing, and cultural preservation. Dr. Ross says to make sure change happens, there needs to be a permanent reparations oversight committee.
We want to make sure that this is going to be acted upon and reviewed annually, if not more frequently.
Connor Kerrigan with Mayor Tashara Jones' office released a statement tonight. It says, "We appreciate the hard work of the Reparations Committee, and we recognize the need to repair the generational harm created by the legacy of chattel slavery and centuries of racist practices and policies, both nationally and locally. We are conducting a full analysis of the report to see which of these further recommendations are possible and feasible."
St. Louis City leadership is considering a new plan for a bigger return on the Rams settlement money. The St. Louis Business Journal reports Board of Aldermen President Megan Green is looking into putting the money into an outside endowment. This would allow private businesses to donate to the fund and grow the $270 million pot. This comes as groups like Greater St. Louis Inc. call for action now to use the money to bolster downtown. A major lender to the Armory is now suing its developer. People's National Bank is suing Green Street, claiming it hasn't paid anything on a loan. Green Street owes the bank more than $24 million. The suit also would put the Armory into receivership, giving the lender control over the property. Fires can spread with blazing speed.
It just went so fast. It's just still mind-boggling. It boggles my mind.
Tonight, we're sounding the alarm on the best home safety gadgets to protect your family. A high school athlete runs into trouble.
I'm pretty disappointed because recently I've been training pretty hard.
His entry in a charity race now disqualifying him from competing at state.
If your car is outside tonight, odds are you're going to need that ice scraper to get the frost off the windshield tomorrow morning. The chilly trend changes after tonight. What you need to know as you make plans for the weekend.
Developing tonight, U.S. officials are expecting Israel to retaliate against Iran sometime before the November election. The retaliatory strike will be in response to Iran's deadly missile attack against Israel earlier this month. The attack is expected to target military sites instead of oil or nuclear facilities. Tonight, a new push to free the Menendez brothers. Eric and Lyle Menendez have been in prison for more than 30 years for the 1989 murders of their mother and father. Now a Los Angeles prosecutor is examining new evidence that could prove the brothers were sexually abused by their father. This could lead to a resentencing. Family members say they just want to see justice.
Over time, it became clear that there were 2 other victims there on that day, my cousins Lyle and Eric. Lyle and Eric would continue to be victimized. They would be victims of a system that wouldn't hear them. And they would be victims of a culture that was not ready to listen.
LA's district attorney has not announced a timeline on a decision. Right now, an O'Fallon teenager is banned from running with his high school cross-country team after competing in a charity race. Cole Deering ran the race for Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital in honor of his sister, a former patient. However, the Illinois High School Association says Cole violated its rule barring student athletes from competing in non-school competitions during the season. Now the IHSA is banning Deering from competing in races that lead up to the state championships.
He is a runner, and so the thing that he enjoys most, it was taken away from him. And so for us as parents, it's very frustrating. And truly, it was for a reason that we still don't really understand.
The family says there is no appeal process. They've started an online petition calling for the IHSA to update its policies. Well, October marks Fire Prevention Month, and it's time to face a startling fact. 3 out of 5 fire deaths occur in homes without working smoke alarms. Tonight, Consumer Reports shows us how protecting your family doesn't have to break the bank.
Simon Glinsick and his family were lucky to make it out of their home after a dryer caught fire.
Smoke was like white smoke billowing out of the dry area. It just went so fast. It's just still mind-boggling. It boggles my mind.
Today, many house fires burn faster, hotter, and are deadlier than ever.
40 years ago, you would have had 17 minutes to get out of a house on fire. Today, just 3.
That's because many newer homes have open floor plans with fewer walls and doors, allowing the fire to travel faster and more freely. Another factor?
A lot of homes today have furnishings made with synthetic materials like plastic and particle board, which burn much quicker than, say, solid wood.
So getting an early fire warning and then getting out is more important than ever. This advice from the National Fire Protection Association makes it easy. Install an alarm on each floor, test it at least once a month, and replace it after 10 years. Now, Consumer Reports exclusive smoke detectors ratings are free, so no membership is required. This dual sensor smoke detector from Simply Safe received top scores for detecting both flaming and smoldering fires. It's battery operated, which means you won't need a professional to hardwire it. It can also be interconnected, so if one alarm sounds off, the others will follow. This battery-powered smoke detector from Kidde also received top scores for detecting both flaming and smoldering fires. This Citterwell smoke detector from Walmart is another good option and comes with a 10-year battery.
We've made accessing the smoke and carbon monoxide alarm ratings easy. We have a link in the As Seen on TV section on KSDK.com. Missouri Task Force 1 is coming home after being deployed for more than 2 weeks. The team has been in North Carolina assisting with search and rescue missions in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. 3 teams got back earlier today, while 2 more teams will return tomorrow and Friday. 4 canine search teams are staying behind for now to continue recovery efforts. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joined us now with that weather impact forecast. And Scott, another chilly night.
It is cold outside tonight. We're dropping back into the 30s. Some of us are still in the 40s, especially in the metro area, but Millstadt's down to 39. So is Arnold. Cahokia Heights at 38 degrees. Alton's at 37. Coldest temperatures are likely going to be from St. Louis on to the east tonight. That's because our high pressure is just off to the east and southeast of St. Louis, kind of ridging here just off to our east and southeast. That means back to our west, it's a little bit warmer, at least overall, and we will see that transition to a milder pattern tomorrow. But with clear skies overhead and the fact that the winds went calm early this evening, temperatures have been dropping very quickly. Our dew point's down to 34 at Lambert. We're still at 48, but you can expect us to close that gap. We were down to 35 this morning in town, officially at the airport. Should be in that same territory or a little cooler. And with most of us seeing a freeze last night west and north of St. Louis and down into the eastern Ozarks, we shift that freeze advisory or the freeze warning off to the east and southeast of St. Louis. That's for temperatures that could be as low as 26, 27 degrees in some of the coldest spots. So a frost and freeze likely again tomorrow morning. That effectively and officially ends the growing season for the year. Again, you can cover your plants, although we're running out of time here as temperatures are already dropping into the mid-30s. That's when frost can form. By tomorrow morning, upper 20s, right around freezing for most of us. Maybe Lambert stays at 36, 37, but most of us are going to have a pretty good freeze. Now, if you're adventurous tomorrow morning, you have to be outside, get a couple of layers on. Space Station, International Space Station, visible for 7 minutes tomorrow morning, starting at 6:18. It'll zip across the sky from the southwest to the northeast. We'll have clear skies tomorrow all through the day. We start in the 20s and 30s, but a quick warm up with winds turning to the south at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Those warmer temperatures really will be felt as we head into the weekend and early next week. So our weather impact alert for early tomorrow morning, really the overnight hours from now until tomorrow morning because of that frost and freeze. Again, if you want to keep picking tomatoes through Halloween, you'll need to cover those plants again tonight, just like last night. But that's it. We probably don't need to cover plants again for a while, although the growing season officially will be over. Back into the mid-70s this weekend, lots of sunshine. Monday night into Tuesday, there may be a little bit of rain. And there's also the potential as we head towards about next Thursday for a little bit of rain. But Mike, we've been so dry. I think today's the 19th day without measurable rain. The odds of getting much rain still look pretty slim.
But it will warm up
It's definitely warming up.
after tomorrow. All right, thanks, Scott. Corey is next with sports.
Well, the new look Billikens are ready for their St. Louis debut on the court. A Cardinals prospect talks about taking things to the next level, and the WNBA Finals may have just seen the shot of the year. Stick around, sports is up next.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire and Auto Centers, driving your way since 1942.
In St. Louis, once a team grabs a hold of the city with an exciting product, they can do no wrong. New SLU head basketball coach Josh Schertz hopes his Billikens can capture the excitement of the entire region with a new brand of basketball this winter. The Schertz era gets an unofficial start on Friday with an exhibition game against Rockhurst at Chaifetz Arena. It's an almost entirely new team for the Bills with just 3 holdovers from Travis Ford's roster. It's hard not to buy into the preseason excitement right now, and the team is feeling the energy around campus and around St. Louis.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, probably the highest since I've been here for sure. Just, obviously whenever there's a change like this, basically a whole new team, there's a lot of excitement. It's, kind of invigorating the school, the fan base, the city.
And if we can go out and do what we need to do in terms of how we play and competing well and putting an entertaining product out there, I think this can really, get momentum. And as we do that, it can become something where, hopefully this becomes one of the hardest tickets in town to get over time. That's the goal.
Drew Bannister's Blues are regrouping after last night's home opening loss to the Wild. The first salvo from Minnesota last night came in part thanks to another misplay from defenseman Nick Leddy, who did not practice today with a lower body injury. He's questionable for tomorrow night against the Islanders, but coach is sticking by his veteran.
He made a mistake. He owned up to it. It's up to us as a team, as a group, to make sure that we have his back and build him up. He's a good player for us. We got to get him playing the way we know he can play.
In this time of transition for the Cardinals, young players figure to be more important than ever. One of the most important players will no doubt be the club's minor league pitcher of the year, Quinn Matthews. Matthews sped from low A to AAA in 2024, his first professional season. His ERA was 2.08. He averaged over 12 strikeouts per 9 innings and had a whip under 1. Still, Matthews did feel a little fatigued by the end of the year. So what did the California kid learn about what the grind of a 162-game season could be like?
You're gonna pitch 25 plus games for the first time. I've never played a game in September, and the stuff changed and just wasn't as sharp. And at times I tried to do too much, which you can't really do when your body isn't able to respond. You kind of just have to pitch with what you have and go out there and compete at the end of the day.
We now know the opponent for Team USA at City Park next month. The Americans will host Jamaica on November 18th in St. Louis as part of the CONCACAF Nations League. We could see 3 St. Louisans in action in that game, and Josh Sargent, Tim Ream, and perhaps goalkeeper Patrick Schulte. It will be new coach Mauricio Pochettino's first match at the helm in the United States. Nafisa Collier and the Lynx hosting the Liberty in Game 3 of the WNBA Finals tonight. And on this layup, the Incarnate Word grad set a new record for points in a single WNBA postseason. Collier had 22 tonight. Here's the player everybody's going to be talking about, though. Tied at 77, time winding down. Sabrina Ionescu's step-back 3 for the lead. New York comes back from 15 down to win 80-77 to take a 2-1 series lead. NLCS Game 3 at Citi Field. Old friend Tommy Edman gonna have a drive to deep center field. Great catch on the track by Tyrone Taylor. Still a sac fly, though. 2-0 Dodgers. Walker Buehler was fired up for LA. Strikes out Francisco Lindor to strand the bases loaded in the second. 8th inning. If we're doing Dodgers highlights, we got to show something from Shohei Ohtani. He absolutely destroys the baseball. That made it 7-0. Dodgers go on to win 8-0. I thought we might not have a former Cardinal highlight tonight, but, Tommy Edman.
You have to throw him in.
There's always one.
And here's the thing people forget about Ohtani. Next year, he'll be pitching
He's
for
going
the
to be
Dodgers.
even more valuable if that's possible.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Quinn Matthews, you think he will be a major leaguer next year?
I think he should at least get a chance in spring training to show that he can be. Like they just said, it's a stretch to stretch him out. He's never pitched this much.
And he started in single A?
Single A. And moved
made
all
it
the
to
way up to AAA, yeah.
That would be a fast rise if he makes
Great
the
interview,
major
too.
leagues.
California kid. He likes to have fun.
Yeah. All right. Corey, thanks. Celebrating 45 years of magical fun. The special birthday gift you can give a St. Louis treasure. The Magic House turned 45 years old today. The Children's Museum in Kirkwood first opened its doors in 1979. And to celebrate, if If you make a $45 donation to the nonprofit, you'll get a custom t-shirt and you'll have your name added to a candle that will be on a big birthday cake on display. History unearthed in Kansas City today. Officials at the National World War I Museum and Memorial revealed the contents of a century-old time capsule. It contained film and newspapers from the 1920s and even a letter from President Calvin Coolidge. Scott has a final check of the chilly weather impact forecast.
It will be frosty for most of us tomorrow morning with a hard freeze in some spots. That freeze warning east of St. Louis and into the metro area. But tomorrow afternoon with plenty of sunshine, we're back into the mid-60s. After that, 70s going into the weekend.
And there you have it, 5 on your side at 10. We're always streaming on 5+. Don't forget to start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m. And have a great tomorrow.